Well, don't we look like idiots?
Yes. What a game.
What a game.
How exciting. It was, Lisa played an amazing early game, and then they sort of handballed it back to Chiefs, and then Chiefs sort of handballed it back again.
I liked the way that it seemed like AV would whittle out kills and then sort of chip away at Chiefs and sort of stack it up. And then it's like, oh, they're really getting elite. And then Chiefs would come back and just smack them down with a team wipe. And then AV would like whittle it
Like slowly
away
building
again.
like a Lego tower.
Yeah.
And then Chiefs are just like
Lovely
a big
tension.
bully, like bang.
Totally.
No tower.
It's like AV heard what we said about them.
Look, I know OPL players, and they probably did. I know a lot of them love to watch the stream. We used to play from home a few years ago, and absolutely all the OPL players I knew were watching the stream up until their game. So, look, I'm not going to claim responsibility for AV's win, but at the same time, I do think I was instrumental in Lisa's jungle party. No, honestly, I thought AV played really well. Lisa had a monster game. Yes, that bot dive sort of gave Chiefs a window back in. Croc sort of does what he's done all season and picks up a couple kills and starts to put the pressure on. I think that solo kill on Gun Crab in the mid game was super important when he dashed over the wall, got that solo kill in the team fight. I think that team fight was looking very dire if that didn't happen. But after that, I mean, we see it so often with upsets. I think particularly in this region where the underdog will get sort of an early lead, but they have real trouble closing it out. Whether it's nerves or inexperience in playing from ahead.
Yeah, like you don't know what to do
because they're regularly behind, and that's sort of what we saw a little bit. They did fumble a little bit at the Baron, and then there are a few failed force engages that we saw after the Baron was taken. That sort of. I mean, Chiefs came back from, I think, like 5k down, and eventually they had the gold lead once more until Gun Crab somehow secured that Ocean Drake and the Ocean Solar as a result, and that was really the final nail in the coffin.
Indeed. And while the game was going on, we also came up with a new potential segment, Nick's Naps.
Yes.
Because we're both slightly sleepy boys at the moment. And
yes. Well, I have a thing where I don't usually drink energy drinks, but when I come here, there's so many energy drinks that I sort of feel overwhelmed. And then I'll have one. But energy drinks to make me tired, sort of.
Yeah, right.
Like I'll get energy, but then
weird.
at the same time, I'll be yawning the whole time. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on there.
You should ask for your money back on those. We could do a sleep stream because apparently this is a very big thing these days. We could do it on Friday night. So we cast Friday, then
sleep.
Yep. We all spoon Rusty Friday night, and then we wake up fresh as daisies on Saturday morning, go out for a nice breakfast. Rusty, you're nodding? He's nodding. Go out for a nice breakfast in the morning, and then we're ready for the next day. And we stream the whole thing.
That'd be cool, I think.
LPL's not doing that.
I actually don't know if you're allowed to stream sleeping.
I think you are.
I thought that they banned that for a while.
No, I think they've changed it.
Okay.
So people have really started doing it.
Well, let's do it. Why
I reckon
not?
we could slip in some content there as well. I reckon there's lots of opportunities for little like League of Legends integration throughout the sleeping. No, this is a real thing. I'm getting excited about this. All right, something else I'm getting excited about. It is the Nick Bag. You can sleep on that couch.
Did they run out of stalk sounds?
Well, this was pre the good title sequences.
Okay.
This was way back in the 2019 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's an oldie but a goodie. Our first one comes in from Brent Jones, who says, "What's the worst experience you've had with a housemate? What actions did you take?" I wanted to ask this because you go through them.
Yes. The worst experience with a housemate depends on whether you. Yeah. Andre's laughing.
There's one.
It depends on whether you count the gaming house. Because if it was the gaming house, I have 1,000,001 stories that are all horrible. But in terms of people that I've actually lived with, it's funny that you ask because my housemate who lived with me last night told us that this morning he was flying back to Canada. So he's just sort of upped and left. I need to now find a new housemate. I'm paying rent on an extra room. And we went in there this morning to sort of look at his room and he left all his furniture in there. There was like a big hole in the wall from him, I guess him moving furniture or something.
What?
Yeah, and he's in Canada. So
Is there extradition
Thanks for the
laws
question,
between
bro.
Canada and here? Can we get him back?
yeah, I don't know. But I mean, basically, he was here for like uni, and his uni got cancelled because of COVID-19,
Yeah.
and so it was like, well, there's no point in me being here, so I'm going home right now.
That's bad. That's bad news.
Anyway, the show happened to me literally this morning. Not the worst thing that's happened, but definitely the freshest.
yeah. It's still pretty bad. It's one of the most expensive things, probably.
Yeah, it's pretty sock.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if anyone out there is looking for a room, when I moved out of my childhood or parents' house when I was 18, moved in with some friends. We had this great house. It was awesome. It was just like the house that everyone came over to. But one of our friends wanted to move in, and we were like, we don't have a room. There are 3 rooms in this house. All those rooms are taken. And so he just started passive-aggressively sleeping at the house all the time. So it'd be like he'd sleep over for like 4 nights, just crashed on the couch. It was like, you've started to bring stuff here and leave it. This is the living room. I don't know what's going on. And then one day I came home and he had a blow-up mattress in the kitchen.
What?
And then he had his shirts hanging off the fridge. And he was like, I'm just going to chill here for a couple of weeks. I'm like, you can't stay here. And then he was like, I'll make it up to you. I'll cook you dinner. So then the next night, he cooks his dinner. He makes this clam pasta, which is just cooked spaghetti, a tin of clams dropped in, and olive oil. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. You need to get out of here. You can't cook. You can't sleep in our kitchen. He didn't wash up any of the clam pasta dishes, so clam is baked onto everything. And he's like, fine, I'll go. And then so gets all his stuff and leaves. And I swear, next morning I wake up, I walk outside, cup of coffee, bare ass naked to the world, as we do in the country, and I look in our shed, and I just see 2 feet sticking out there, and he's sleeping in our shed. I nearly called the cops. I was like, I need to legally evict you at some point. But then we ended up just letting him sleep in the shed. So he slept in the shed for 3.5 months or something.
That's insane. But that's such a classic story where where someone is like, I'll cook. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to contribute. I'm going to cook. You'll love it.
Yeah.
They can never cook.
No.
Never has anyone ever said that to me and then actually been able to cook after that. It's always been just like frozen peas in my spaghetti.
Yeah.
Or like something like that. You know what I mean?
Because people who know how to cook know how much of a chore it is.
Yes.
And like how much work goes into it.
They know
like,
what's involved. They're like, I'm not cooking for you.
Not every night. That's insane.
Not as payment for sleeping on the floor anyway.
Abby Steph says, do you have Panera Bread restaurants in your area? Have you ever eaten a bread bowl? I don't believe we have Panera Bread. I believe
I think that's the
American.
US, right?
But have you eaten a bread bowl?
No?
Can I tell you?
Is it bread in a bowl or a bowl made of bread?
It's a bowl made of bread.
What?
Yeah, they take different
what's that
loaves.
called? Cob loaf?
Yeah, like a cob. They scoop it out. They fill it up with like lobster, clam bisque,
Yep.
or whatever
Clam
you want.
pasta?
Yeah, just clam anything. Yeah, can I tell you? Like, this borders on legit fantasy for me, eating out of it. I don't know where to find it. If anyone has a tip on like where I can find a bread bowl in Sydney.
Isn't that like I thought that, what's that called? I thought that was like a traditional Australian dish. It was like a cob loaf, but I forget what you fill it
You
with.
think of a pie?
No.
Okay.
No. It's specifically like a cob loaf,
Yeah.
and then it's like, because I don't know what it is because like my parents aren't Australian, so like I've never had it, but I
Yeah.
remember that all my girlfriend's friends laughed at me for not knowing what it was.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like if I could just remember the name, it would all be worth getting laughed at.
It will be for this moment right now. I have seen it at a party once. Someone put like a tzatziki or
dip?
something in
Yeah,
there.
I've seen that too,
But
yeah.
but what I want it to be warm. I want it to be
Yeah,
like a
meal.
warm, saucy stew thing.
Yeah.
Rip off the crusty edges, dip it
Uh-huh.
in. Honestly, I'm getting very comfortable right now just even talking about it. So if anyone can tell me in 4.5 minutes time, once the chat delay has caught up, then I would love to know where I can get a bread bowl. That should be a seg on the OPL. We'll cook our own bread bowls one day. All right, it's time to move on to game number 2. We've spoken enough about bread. It's now time to talk about Legacy versus Order. You
Yes, me.
well, you haven't been preparing all week for this. You've been preparing.
Been doing very little in regards to
nothing.
this match specifically, but the team has been preparing.
Yep.
Coming off a nice win yesterday against AV. Order, I think, will be a tougher opponent today. They are, of course, playing from home back in Melbourne. So, we're all assuming that they, without the travel, that they're going to play a little bit better. I think they won yesterday pretty handily.
Yeah.
I can't remember who they played against, but...
They played... Who did they play? Who did Order play yesterday?
In any case.
We'll find it.
I remember... No, that's today. Anyway, I did watch that game, and they did win. Gravitas. Yeah. And they played quite well. So we'll see what they have today.
Yep.
Obviously, I hope the boys get over the line. Legacy, that is. But I don't know.
We hope the other boys don't, because Jake's not here. This is the Legacy lineup. These are the boys to which you refer.
Yep.
Which one of these boys is your favourite? The diplomatic answer would be Jensen, because it's like a different category.
He's outside the boys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like them all. I'm a fan of Tally, of course. I played with Tally for a long time. Personally, it's nice to have him in the house. He's always very positive. Asks me how I'm going. He likes to come over to my desk and just sort of hang out a little bit.
So the personal touch is what you're really looking for?
Well, that's what I like in a person.
The personal touch. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. All right, well, Tally and the boys are going up against Order. His team from last year, you got Swiper only, Harry, Rare 7, and Ayla. Of course, Coach Spawn, not here, not being salty on the couch, can dedicate himself to this team, who, at this point, should be, if history is any indication, making a run for it.
Yes, we are getting towards Gauntlet time. The format's a little bit different this year, so we'll have to see whether or not Order Gauntlet buff still exists with a different format. But look, if there's any time of the season to start improving, it's now. If I think they are currently 5th Order, very important that they hold on to that 5th spot. They don't want to drop down to 6th and miss the finals altogether. So they've got a few important weeks coming up.
And if there's any week where Carbon does not want that to happen, it's this week. So let's jump into game number 2 for this evening. It is Legacy versus Order, and it's coming up after the Maggie's Gem Select.
I got all 4.
Let's jump into game number 2. It's Order taking on Legacy in what could potentially be the second upset of the day, top of the table. Both times Order have played this roster. They've tried to create something quite unique and out there to combat Legacy, and they've definitely shown signs of bringing it to them. Never able to find that full-on victory, however.
Yeah, so last game, Legacy wanted Chiefs to lose, without a doubt. That'll give them outright first place.
Yeah.
But now Chiefs want Legacy to lose. So we've got a lot of rivalries going on here where Chiefs are very big Order fans right now, you would have to expect, and we'll get to see perhaps some social support there from them. But Order, very hard team to go against just in general, I would say. Like there is a top of the table, there is a bottom of the table, and then there's just Order. And Order could be either. They could be none of it. They could be all of it. You never know with Order.
They're kind of like the gatekeepers at this stage, aren't they?
They change per minute. And the thing is, like, if they're gatekeepers, I don't know where the gate is. Like, it's a moving bar. So it's like a high jump maybe more than a gatekeeper. But we'll see what they choose to draft here.
And if anything, Direwolves are kind of just sitting back with the popcorn enjoying the show, right? With these top 2 teams battling things out. Order going to open up with the center. Not going to be banned away. They decide to take off Raze's Callista, which he found good success on last week. Legacy going to open up, however, with a classic, basically showing what Order can do and say, hey, look, you run this, Yuumi and Olaf. We'll do it.
So this draft, usually you'll see like a Yuumi-Ezreal duo, but because the enemy team here of Order could go center Tahm Kench, we've actually seen Raze go for something like a Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
To combat that, maybe to match the scaling, but still bully them out in
the
lane.
OPL Classico, yeah.
So I like that Legacy choose to show the Olaf second. They don't just pick a bottom lane. And now the ball is in Order's court. You know, where do they want to pick? And is it going to be a Tahm Kench? Because there are supplemental picks that actually work with the center.
Yeah.
That aren't just a Tahm Kench. The thing that is irreplaceable in that lane is just actually the center. So they've got what they needed. And now we get to see if they want to flex that support champion that gets to farm, or if they want to just go for the Tahm Kench now and pick winning lanes elsewhere.
All of those strong picks are available.
Yeah.
They can be locked in. Set is taken as well. They're going to go for the Tristana. They want aggression. I suppose this is a direct counter to the fact that, yeah, when you are playing against a Yumi lane, it does feel like a little bit of a 2v1. Incredibly strong during the mid and late game for those team fights, but you're not that body to soak up damage. Israel Yumi is that bread and butter.
Is it Trist AD carry?
I want to imagine it is.
Or is it Tristana solo lane?
So potential. It can definitely
I'm
be
not
flexed.
sure. Ezreal lock-in, I think, still makes sense here, though, given that the Tristana's there. You know, you can build yourself the Iceborne Gauntlet. You can be pretty tanky and self-sufficient with an Olaf. Legacy's composition still makes a whole lot of sense here. All we're really missing now is something that can either complement the comp they already have in mid lane, or something that can disappear side lane and split push. And you know, Tally is a top lane champion player. There's going to be a lot of top lane champions perhaps focused in the next ban phase here of Order. We'll see the direction he chooses to go. You know, something like a Victor could actually work with what they've got right now.
It's quite interesting to see, and you can understand really what Legacy are looking to achieve now with this composition. They want to go forward in a straight line and have nothing that can slow them down. Obviously, Set brings you back, whereas an Azir and Cassiopeia would stop you dead in your tracks. Definitely want to make sure that when Olaf is going, he is going forward.
Kalista banned, though the Cassiopeia ban isn't for that. Makes you wonder where they'll go, if there is a mobility champion or if it's just getting rid of scaling options from Hayri, which does still make a whole lot of sense.
He played fantastically as the Azir last time.
Yeah, if you want to go like a Karma mid lane, Tally has played that already. You're just getting rid of things that will handle you well in lane and start to outscale you.
Oh, this is interesting. Playing Nana and basically kind of having a bit of a jab at Swiper there. A pick that he's incredibly comfortable on. A bit interesting, or a bit exciting actually, you know, to have Tapoon on one of those champions. He's been kind of resigned to playing the more support Soraka AFK top lane style for the last few games.
Yeah, and he's a very good Nah. So it is good to see him back on the pick. Has been a little while, like you highlight. It'll be very refreshing. Of course, the composition of Legacy now has a split push potential there as, you know, another AD carry in the mix. What's to stop them? Just pick a 5th physical champion. Just do it. They really need a mage in mid lane.
Big Kindred jungle comes online.
Probably Orianna is your best bet, but mobility's maybe even preferential there, and a lot of that's been banned. Corki? Yeah, Ori.
If you don't have the Cassiopeia near there, something to slow you dead in your tracks and just turn the fight, and the Shockwave is very good at doing that.
So waiting what should be a mid laner here from Legacy. They're one of the hardest teams to understand when it is just top lane is going in mid lane, exactly where the champions are going. But yeah, waiting on a top laner to be picked in mid lane, unless Tally has reinvented himself. He has actually been playing a lot of Twisted Fate and solo queue this week.
Okay.
There was a couple of highlights posted on social media there of some idiots on the other team, which was very funny to watch. I recommend checking it out. Tally is actually going to lock in a mid laner.
Beautiful. Locks in a Twisted Fate has been confirmed to be playing the rest of Split 1, so has been working on that champion, Paul. As we see the faces of old making their way to the big stage, and I feel for Bryce, you know. One of these situations, it hasn't been easy for him to really take that leap of faith to go to Korea.
Look at them all, successful, smug bastards. No, I do miss them all, actually. And they're not smug. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, it's going to be quite interesting. Legacy get the Olaf Yumi Israel composition. They've got the global threat always with the TF.
Yeah, they've gone for double cleanse here, though. On Order's side, both 80 carries have chosen to go for that. And I don't know exactly how Twisted Fate's ultimate works with the obscurity of Senna. So that's something that we're going to have to watch in this game, because you would imagine that it reveals all things.
When she goes into a mist, yeah.
Yeah, but is it proximity even with a Twisted Fate ultimate? In which case you'll have to ult on her face to even see her. So maybe one of the tools that could work against the Twisted Fate for all we know. But I think it's very obvious what Legacy are looking at right now. They've got a powerhouse jungler. They've got a team fighting or split pushing top laner. So a little bit of diversity there. But a Twisted Fate's going to be ganking those side lanes, and I think that's definitely the way they want to play this one out.
Definitely seems like a way to allow Raze and Isles to get themselves quite healthily into that mid game without too many troubles, otherwise they will fall down to the aggression that can come out of this Tristana in center. A lot of CC, a lot of raw damage, a lot of mobility to get on top of you and really punish the fact.
And I think it's important to point out how fragile a lot of Order's comp is, except for the set. You know, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of range, there's a lot of potential outplay there from the side of Order.
Yeah.
Mobility from Set and Orianna is lacking. Sorry, Senna and Orianna is lacking, but Tristana and Kindred have it in spades. So it's actually a very interesting game to watch, just how it's going to unfold against the likes of Legacy's comp, because Olaf can run you down, Twisted Fate can catch you very easily or get into side lanes. Ezreal Yuumi will always catch you if they're chasing you. And then Gnar can actually scoop all 5 of them with Mega out of it. Kindred ultimate, you know, can catch them all very easily if teleport flanks are there. So there is, I would say, a lot of room for Legacy to just run over the top of Order compositionally. But if Order gets ahead, you know, one of the weird things, and this, like, they may have picked the only champions in League of Legends that can do this. But Kindred, Tristana, and Senna all get range as the game goes. So they're going to be harder and harder to actually lock down.
Sure.
Like Tristana with levels, Kindred with passive stacks, Senna with passive stacks. At a certain point, they're just going to outrange your damage completely. And that's really hard to deal with.
So are you telling me that Order are wearing Pentanet.gg masks? They're playing late game style?
Not exactly. The Tristana and the Senna can happily do that, but like a Kindred does need to get stacks from somewhere, and it's in the enemy jungle,
hunt. Yeah.
right? So it's either kills or enemy jungle camps that randomly spawn. So I don't think it's put on your Pentanet shoes and just sit back and very passively farm. You know, Pentanet also play pretty aggressively in the early game sometimes with their Lee Sins.
You can see the respect shown here by Legacy in the bottom lane. They're going to go for the barrier on Ezreal and the heal on Yuumi to make sure that they don't fall victim. Not looking for the ignite for that all-in potential, just need to survive. Make sure that they can hold their own and be an influence to contest. Obviously when Twisted Fate hits 6 and Olaf can rotate for these drags.
And there is a lot of interesting interactions around this Kindred, and it is definitely something that we'll have to watch and monitor as the game progresses. But like a Gnar scoop, a Set ultimate as well when he suplexes people out. There's going to be a lot of mobility. Tristana ultimate as well. Shockwaves in a weird way can be very effective with that Kindred ultimate as well. I think a lot of the game does revolve around like how does Only play this game out and what summoners or spells are available at the time of the fight happening.
I love Kindred. Whenever I get a chance to play her, I just find it such a satisfying kit. As you highlight, you know, with the stacks. Any champion which has a stacking component, it feels like a slight mini game.
Yeah, for better or worse, you know, as someone who is a Bard player, I can tell you it can often be for worse.
Chasing your chimes.
You kind of lose track of where you are, and suddenly you're inside the enemy jungle and you are dead. Kindred also suffers that same fate now and again. If I'm against a Kindred and I want to kill her, just look at your map and see which camp she needs to kill, and you'll probably find her there.
Well, junglers aren't going to meet just yet. Babbitt will have double buff and come on down for a nice handy scuttle pickup. Once again, asserting their dominance towards the bottom side of this river.
Yeah, the marked scuttle is top side, however, so that is still the first mark for Only. We'll be very happy with that. No contest here from the side of Legacy, even though the Gnar has very much got push and is very forward. Mid lane priority is noticeably there for Hayri on this Orianna, so pretty comfortable take there. First start here, and now Only is going to try and navigate his way around what potentially would be wards, and he's done so successfully. Swiper could flash forwards and hit the face breaker, stun off the back wave minions if they wanted to make this play happen.
They may look for it indeed, and that's exactly how the script's going to be written right now. It only comes in from the flank, looking for the damage. He's going to actually flash away from the Haymaker.
Just unfortunate timing there. Top in very early on the runaway. So suspecting something is wrong, will quickly disengage. It means a Swiper can't hit the stun with his E, just the pullback. And so he is able to get out to safety there, top in, flashing only when necessary. It only shows his hand, which means free reset for the Olaf. Boots in his advantage as well. And will get himself back onto the Rift faster.
Sure, Swiper knows his matchup better than most, having A lot of experience on both these champions, been very comfortable in this set, had some standout performances with his ability to slam dunk multiple members and almost hard carried a team fight as a result. So I have to keep tabs on how that goes.
And we've spoken a lot about the kindred interactions with a lot of other champions in this game, but I think it's really important to highlight what kind of is like the glue to Order's team composition. I really do think that that is Hayri on this Orianna.
Sure.
So far, been playing the lane out fine, has a pretty big CS advantage, honestly, for 5 minutes in just raw 1v1 laning. That is 10 CS. Of course, the wave will be caught here by Tally. But the only magic damage on the team, strictly the only magic damage that really exists there in this game for Order. And if he falls behind, it's a lot easier for Legacy. You know, Raze being an Ezreal, building an Iceborne Gauntlet. Well, what if Hayri's behind and there just is no magic damage in the team, right? Suddenly Legacy looks like they're going to be a lot stronger. So very important for Order that Hayri does well and at least gets towards his item breakpoints to be in this game successfully. And then those shockwaves connecting, he does have some setup there from the rest of his team. You know, if Senna hits a root or if Swiper hits a big superplex, but those shockwaves I think are the team fight in a sense for Order, where Legacy, I'd say, much more conventional in the way that they've drafted.
I like the way you highlight that because, yeah, as you say, it's a crutch to make sure that they can reach this point of the game where they can get kills like that. And if you get this champion online nice and early, then yeah, obviously you have the time to allow those stacks and those passives to add on up.
Nice time to highlight that one though, huh? Orianna gets the shockwave off. They get the first kill going into the mid lane of Order, and suddenly some gold in all the right places. And a mark that goes over towards Order. So very good stuff there from them.
Pretty big punishment onto Tally. Had to use teleport to get back to lane. Already behind in CS. Babbitt will catch that. It's going to be a bit of a rough showing for him.
4 members strong will show themselves at the Drake as well to secure the objective after the kill. So Order get the +1. Babbitt with a very small monster lead in the jungle. A very insignificant lead at that, as the Kindred still gets those kills and extra experience to get himself to 6, though Babbitt will get there right now. Definitely there first.
Very early execution is now coming online for Ayla, really shutting down that annoyance that Yuumi is with the infinite sustain. Already got the Fiendish Codex online, so working towards that of Fiends, which just makes it that much more troublesome.
One of the nice times to be a center support is when your opponent is a Yuumi. You know, very much matched in the strengths that they have.
Yeah.
You can't get poked out. Your poke's pretty even. You're a ranged champion, first of all, so it's just easier to navigate the lane. And yeah, your sustain's there.
Yep, the worst nightmare is obviously against the likes of Fresh, Nautilus, and so on. Easy to stack up Absolution. Obviously, once Umbral Glaive comes online as well, makes it very easy to control the vision.
I want to say a pretty relaxing start to the game here for both teams. I would imagine that Legacy are comfortable scaling in this game. I don't think there's any pressure on them.
No.
One of the first breakpoints that they would have is hitting level 6. You know, having a Twisted Fate. There's opportunities to get around the map right now if he would like. But has gone for the Catalyst build, so his damage is not the highest right now. It's about sustaining in lane. And because he's gone for the Catalyst, it means he hasn't gone for damage and he hasn't gone for boots. So a lot less priority on him just ulting at level 6, finding the lane and pressuring side lanes immediately. But if he does choose to, there are some pretty good options, especially once Yuumi hits 6 and Na gets Mega.
Yep, would love to have found that issue come online quite easy for them and rotate towards that first dragon, but Order find the advantage, finding that first kill onto Orianna and allowing her to itemize towards more damage to keep that lead healthy in her favor right now, which is sitting quite comfortably around about the 20 buffer.
Yeah, and even then, you know, you've got your Cull on Na, you've got your tier stacking on an Ezreal, you need your first item on a Yuumi. I think we are just going to see this for a little while. There will be certain breakpoints where things will start to switch on, you know?
Sure.
The next Drake is potentially one of those points. Ocean Drake's obviously just very valuable in general, and if they wanted to choose a Drake to fight for, it could be one of the good ones. They'll be getting close to their first item breakpoints around then as well.
But this is something that Jensen's been quite vocal about in the past, you know, saying we're quite happy to donate a few objectives across. Look, you know, the first 2 Drakes, they're a freebie, you take those. Our competition, we know those power spikes, we know what items are required before we look to force those team fights.
That's a valid point as long as there's a reason, right? Like, we're happy to give them over because of X or Y. If that is because we outscale, then like brilliant, right? Like, You're giving objectives because you're taking gold for those objectives.
Correct.
Or
Bit split pushing or catching up in CS, whatever it may be.
nice damage.
Fair bit of damage comes out onto Tally right there.
Wants
Harry
the
is
kill.
looking for it. He's going to go for the flash, bring the ball with him.
Didn't even cleanse. Didn't even need to cleanse. Tally just gets solo killed here by Harry in mid lane. And that's a really big tempo swing in favor of Order. You know, it felt like they still had more control of the map than Legacy did. But this is one of those really big turning points, it feels like, where that's a fed Orianna now, not just a strong Orianna.
And this is, you know, the best plan that they could have actually asked for right now. What can Baba do to respond? He wants that gold. He'll find that shutdown.
Very
Find
important.
vengeance for Tally.
Yeah, very important. He needed that kill. They needed to shut down Harry as best they could. Was the ultimate, was the flash used by that Olaf, and there is 1 minute until the Drake spawns, so the cost was high, but that's so worthwhile. You know, that's something on the map for the Olaf, something big that they needed.
Yeah, otherwise they would have found lots of losses across this map right now. Was Order turn their attention to the top lane, having picked up that Herald, going to break down some of these plates and keep this economy in their favor.
Yeah, and it's just the plate push. It's not going to be the turret push. Ray's even used his E aggressively forwards. Twisted Fates use the ultimate, actually. They want to come in.
First signs of life for a team fight. TP as well from Na. Yuumi going for the ultimate, locking members in place. Ela finding the cleanse. They will decide to go for Only, who actually pops down the golden floor.
Swiper's coming.
It's a disco party as they jump around. Tapoon will find that kill and get himself into the score sheet. Can they find a second to make that dragon that much easier to go for? Massive amounts of grit. Isles gets the kill. That'll make his life a little bit easier to hit that Fiend's breakpoint.
Eyes on Hayri here, however, as he does have his full items and the shockwave is up and available. He doesn't want to get to the top lane and look to contest this by any means. But Legacy are going to go for the reset. And they're going to look towards the Drake, it seems, off that reset as fast as they can. And they're able to get the kills, and not only the kills, they're able to get the team fight, effectively stemming any momentum that Order had.
Order were building up their momentum in the top lane, really trying to make things work, obviously building off what Harry had achieved, but 2 cleanses were burnt. Teleports from both top laners. And now Tally is back into things.
They get the Kindred ultimate for one. The Tristan and the Senna now have nothing available for them. When you look at the cost of summoner spells used in that last skirmish, very favorable for Legacy. They still have everything on their bottom lane duo. Topoon has the flash if he wants to get Mega Gnar and threaten in any forthcoming fights while he doesn't have the teleport. But Order, they try and really push the tempo. They get here first, and they will break that Drake down. No contest for Legacy.
None at all. It's going to be an Ocean Drake that they acquire. We're going to have a Mountain Rift this time around, so there's some nice beefy boys to play around with here. Armor and magic resistance at their disposal. Legacy quite happy to say, look, despite the fact that we took so much from you, still happy to sit in this laning phase and scale on up.
This is one of those points where lane assignments are very important, though. You know, you've got Harry against Topu, which is one of those weird matchups where in mini form, you can definitely kill the Gnar. In mega form, he could potentially kill you, especially when you have no summoner spells. But we also have an Ezreal and a Yuumi against a Set. 1v2 in the top lane. And Babip also hovering nearby. Tally also playing the Twisted Fate. We're getting closer and closer to that ultimate available.
Yeah.
And the cost of the transaction here for Order is that they want to push mid lane pressure, mid lane priority, and use that for objectives. You know, that's a part of why they're able to get these Drakes successfully.
Yeah.
And it can net them control around the map. And you know, one of the bigger advantages of that is they'll threaten Topoon. So they pressure the Topoon side of the map, and it means that both teams are just trading. Just even trades now.
It means that Tally won't have the protection of that tower. Already down 2 deaths. Make it a little bit harder for him to sacrifice those minion waves if he decides to go global. It's one of the weaknesses, really, of the set is getting kited, and, you know, once that Iceborne Gauntlet's online, combine that with the Yuumi and her poke.
We've actually got Kindred and Senna moving up to top to defend that, it looked like. But Swiper chooses to finish that recall, and Hayri now going up here. So they've actually flipped their lane assignments. They're going to match their top laners against each other. But the cost of that flip is very high here by Order. That's not just going to be plates in top lane, it's plates bottom, as one was taken by Topoon just before the 14-minute mark. And now that turret, because it ticks over to 14, becomes fragile, it just dies.
Does indeed. It's the first turret picked up here by Legacy. Had Babip in the wings hanging out by a try. Control wards are down. Scouting out where these members are. Complete reign of this little quadrant of the map. Out comes the True Shot Barrage. Does connect. Yuumi scouting and Olaf with the adaptive power buff. Order still sitting in mid lane.
And that was pretty calmly played out by Legacy in such a good way. Hayri, he's in trouble.
He is indeed. Yumi detaches, the shockwave hits nothing, and an ult from center to make sure a shield hits. Well, Terrain at that stage, a big, big burn, 2 ultimates, and a cleanse.
Yeah, that's very big. Hayri now in trouble against the likes of the Twisted Fate, who will be able to influence the map now that that ultimate is available. Legacy, they see the Herald. They've got the Yumi Olaf together and online. And they'll just start the objective up.
They'll make light work of this one here. And they'll be able to continue the barrage of siege damage they've already started here. Let's see how low Tapoon was able to get bot lane before. And Tally right now is almost playing like a Veigar, just sitting in mid. Doesn't need to really force anything, just collect the CS. You know you're down by 30. Just make sure that Order never had the opportunity to run through rampant.
So the bot lane outer was 4 plates worth of health before the 14-minute mark. It switched off. Tapoon very clearly just used his ultimate there as well, and Swiper to trade back. But the numbers are here for Order. So those trades, maybe not comfortable if you're Tapoon. He wants to try and stop this wave from crashing if he can.
Only is sitting around for a long time right there, and you can see Tapoon just flirting with him, buying that time to delay the recall. He's got the vision.
Yeah, that was a big win.
And this will allow them to break open top.
And they'll probably get another charge off unless they can get the auto attacks on there. They're going to choose to let the Herald die. But they'll break the turret. And I want to say it's a very influential lane turret to break. Just because that lane now is just no man's land. And if you're Hayri, and we just spoke about this, the kill threat that Tally now has if someone else is there is high.
Yeah.
But because that turret's gone, it's even higher.
Yeah.
There's no safe space up there anymore. And you've got that global threat.
Not going to be the ideal side lane for him to farm, with it being incredibly long in distance now. Have to keep a sharp eye on whether that CS does start to get closer. Tapoon hitting that first major power spike with the Black Cleaver. He's finding love in that split push to match Swiper here.
And so there is one other thing that needs to be noted. You know, we spoke about the importance of Hayri in this game. What we didn't really speak about is where he's going to be assigned during this game. Legacy have built themselves a pretty good 1-3-1 composition. And as a result of that, you have to think about who's going to answer the ones in that. And it is going to be Tally split pushing, probably against Hayri, will be the assignments. And if that's the case, you've got an Ezreal that's building armor, you've got a Yumi to support that, and an Olaf that can stack it as well if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Very hard to get through those three. And I think that, you know, effectively being an indomitable 1-3-1 composition then, they'll start to run away with this game at the 2 to 3 item point unless Order find his strength. You know, if it's that Twisted Fate will just die to the Orianna if they're in that lane, then that is one of the potential strengths that exist.
Legacy will find one of those first major power spikes, and as you can see there from the heal buffer that comes online, Iceborne Gauntlet for Ezreal, and a Fiends for Yumi. The more damage you do, the bigger that heal comes on out for. Can be very, very strong when these two, as well as Babbitt, group on up.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to spike. Of course, the same can be said on the other side to a degree. You've got your Infinity Edge now being completed for the Tristana. You've got the stacks on the passives coming through as well. You've got the levels starting to stack up, so individually, Order are still hitting their stride, just maybe not as much as an Ezreal, who has a stupidly cost-efficient build.
Yeah. Order doing a fantastic job there, hiding in the wings, the pink wall down. They're going to be the response here with Yumi to try and make sure that they don't get this one up for free. But Order will find a lot of value, not only taking down the tower, getting very close to it, I should say, denying away the red buff too.
Rare always loving himself a bit of a jump forwards there. No surprises to see that aggression come out. I think I took Isles by surprise for a second. I was like, oh, throw the ultimate out just in case. But still pressure continues in mid lane. He's jumping again. No Yumi ult.
Instant exhaust to make sure nothing happens, because that explosive shot, when it explodes, does a deceivingly amount of large damage.
Yeah, good harass. And of course, having that Executioner's call in there for the center means that the trade was favorable. Yumi not able to heal that through. That was close.
We're looking for this one, and as long as those Mystic shots connect, he's going to find it. One
Red
would
buff.
have done it. Oh, so very close. True shot barrage.
Lost the 50-50 there. Ayla cleanses for no reason. Rare also, remember the heal was used.
Oh no.
I don't know why Ayla cleansed. I think that was a misclick. That's unfortunate for him. That could hurt in the coming moments. There is only the Baron up in the next couple of minutes. You know, 3 minutes until a Drake spawns.
Yep.
So maybe that cleanse won't be one of those unfortunate things that was just wasted.
Be one of those things where you say, hopefully those guys didn't catch it. Move on. Flip the script. But the side lanes now do take place, as you highlighted before. That's how they're going to sit to it. But Harry has just been doing such a fantastic job of making sure that this lead stays in his favor. Up now by 50.
Yeah, he's very fed, and he has 2 pretty cheap items compared to the other opportunistic ones. Like, look, Luden's Echo Death Cap, the more expensive build.
Sure.
When he hits those 2 item spikes, he could 1v9 the game. But he's gone for the spikes sooner rather than later, and he could still build those items afterwards. I think that's important. He needs to always be strong, so you don't want to wait for those spike timings.
Will this be the moment where Raze wants to fight because he's got the 3 crucial items online? And he's there to pocket him. Olaf always waiting in the wings, just looking for an objective to contest.
And we had to really see a big influence from these top laners coming into the fights. Teleports are both there. The ultimates are. The summoner spell's all available. And if we see a Gnar come in, Mega Gnar, team fighting is going to be huge. We see a set come in, it's always going to be huge in team fights.
Absolutely.
And we're just really waiting for those fights themselves to have a reason to break out.
I mean, there's an argument you could make to say that both Gnar and Set almost function and facilitate the same kind of engage, right? With the shove into the wall, just a slam dunk into multiple members. Get the ball rolling.
But in saying that, if they stay in these lanes, if they just constantly stay in the side lane, I would always rather be a Gnar. Especially at this point. The closer you get to the 2 item completion, go for your frozen mallet, I would always rather be the Gnar.
Well, the 1-3-1 continues. And the sustain of the Yuumi will come online.
And the 1-3-1 isn't always just that strict, right? Like, look at where Tally is. He's currently hovering top moon. So it's not just a 1-3-1, it's a 3-2. It's a split push either way. And that is how Legacy want to win the game, is by pressuring a side lane while having an Ezreal, Yuumi, and an Olaf that are almost unkillable in mid lane, just hanging out. Iceborne Gauntlet, AoE, clears waves, slows you down, makes things annoying and impossible, as does a Yuumi. And if you catch an Olaf, he just presses R and yells away. One of the variations that's possible there from Legacy, and good thinking coming out of them.
Look at the gold difference, as you can see right now.
1.8 in top lane.
Their hopes really are relying on Harry to get them through these mid-game skirmishes with that magic damage, as you highlighted.
Yeah, the only person ahead is him. Everyone else pretty significantly behind. And, like mentioned, while the 80 carry difference in items is actually very significant, even though the gold difference isn't, just because of the cost efficiency of those items. Swiper.
Forced to burn that flash as TF revealed him even within that mist. They were the ones first to take the Drake. The Legacy are the ones to claim it.
Yeah, top moon showing up on Mega, all the reinforcements there from Legacy collapsing at the same time. Free Drake, 2 Mountain Drakes, very tanky. It's going to be the side of Legacy if they're able to get any more. Could potentially have a 4 Mountain Drag, a Mountain Soul game. And I'd never want to verse that.
Nobody dies.
Nobody dies. Not to mention the Yuumi and the mobility that they have. No one dies.
You put all your eggs into one basket. Yuumi just disattaches, or sorry, jumps across to somebody else, tops them up, and between the resistance and the heals, you break the keyboards.
Oh, no Yuumi to help ya.
This is a big situation right now. It's a fantastic shutdown. Rare burnt a lot to make it happen between flash, jump, and heal, but he takes that, where Israel was in one of those big power spikes.
Absolutely. Yuumi trying to walk to mid lane, walks a very greedy pathing, regrets it, and switches back, and then suddenly is just jumped on the other side. They kill one, they push mid, Shockwave just mid. Oh. That Shockwave threat could have secured them a little bit more pressure, even on a second turret in mid lane, but they'll break one for free after the nice pick.
You can see the idea there, Senna starting things off with the root. Shockwave, as you say, would have done it. Still hunting, however. Hanging around in the shrub.
Yeah, Senna basically using W off cooldown at this point.
Really is.
He's looking for those picks.
Does have Umbral Glaive online as well, so it's quite easy for them to clear out vision and set up bush parties like that.
So I think now's a pretty good time to do a stack check for all the stacking champions. You know, you've got Rare level 12, so his range is starting to build up nicely.
Yeah.
Of course, he's not going to spend a lot of time in a solo lane doing anything massive just yet. The other two champions that we'll need our observers to look at sooner or later will be the Kindred and the Senna, for how many stacks they have, and that'll show up on the bottom left of your screen.
Triple Executioners.
That's 3 for the Kindred, so that's actually really tragic. 24 minutes in, only 3 stacks.
74 stacks, not too bad though.
Yeah, Senna hitting almost the 80 mark.
Once you hit 80 and you're going towards 100, that's when you're in big man land. But Triple Executioner's online right now, which makes the Olaf dream with the Spirit Visage and a UB attached that much weaker.
The concern with Kindred only having 3 stacks is not only less range, but just generally less impact on the map.
Yep.
Hurts to be a Kindred and hit that point. Of course, there's still a lot of usefulness in the champion. It's high damage, high utility from the ultimate to keep your team alive. Let's say you're facing off against an Olaf. 4 stacks might help you dodge that axe. 3, not going to help you at all.
Legacy will still sit around in this mid lane. They really want to take that tower down before they even decide we are going for this Baron. Down to half, you can see what happens when the heal comes online, even with the healing cut on. Instantly top back up.
Yeah, you want to take even trades. Just hang on a second, the jump in.
That's actually very aggressive as Tapoon just jumps in amongst multiple members. Down goes Kindred, and that's going to be the... Well, just a slam dunk, quite honestly. He goes golden. He's looking to jump, and massive shockwave onto multiple members, and followed up here by Set. Swiper finding first signs of life in this game, but it will be raised to get a double kill amongst it.
Swiper and Hayri put in some serious work, that much is for certain, but the way that the fight starts is not favorable for Order. And so they do still limp away with only 2 people left alive. Similar thing could be said for Legacy, however.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we just disengage and we reset. And we're looking down the barrel of a 3rd Mountain Drake for Legacy.
Very slow game when it's come to kills. Only 11 on the board right now. Legacy will have that lead, as we've seen from the gold before. But definitely playing around these objectives and really stubbornly trying to take down that mid turret.
And we saw the potential of what happens when the top laners get into the mix.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Topoon, we saw him miss almost everything. And then Swiper just picks on the Gnar, right? Play the set into the Gnar if he's used his scoop already, and only if he has used his scoop already. Ult him into the team. If he hasn't, do not touch the man, because then you're just gifting him a free ult.
First signs of what a real skirmish could look like. As everybody comes to mid lane. Tally very close to having that teleport online. Same with the ultimate. Multiple ways to engage. Multiple ways to be creative. As the ARAM continues.
I think this is the first real time in the game we've seen some serious pressure placed towards the Baron or topside river at the moment, you know? That means, 27 minutes in, it's a real threat that the Baron could be taken. I think that Legacy have made a conscious choice to even look at that.
Yeah.
Or to sneaking away the Drake from under their noses. I think Legacy are late to react to this one. Will they get there in time? And the answer is yes, if they ram their heads in.
They may be able to. They're going to reveal it now with that TF. Just the amount of damage that comes online when Ragnarok gets proc with Yumi on top. Tally finds 1. They do get the Dragon. Order find 3. But the fight means Legacy take you down. And I think really at the end of the day, Rusty, they say you can have that Drake, because now finally we can get that turret.
Yeah, basically they're giving them a choice order. They say if you continue to do this Drake and we engage on you right now, you die. You'll get the Drake, but you'll die for this, and then we go over to the Baron with that kill advantage and we try and take that one out.
Yeah.
Only stays alive, yes, because he gets the Dragon and no one touches him. But because there's 2 people gone, Rare and Swiper, a lot of the damage missing. No one's going to be able to contest this Baron buffer whatsoever. Legacy win out on that trade.
One of the benefits, I suppose, really, of the Twisted Fate, the ability just to sit stubbornly in mid lane and then have him reveal where everybody are and go, oh yeah, they are on the Drake. Let's go towards that now.
The problem with taking the first 2 Drakes of the game in, I don't want to say a losing game, but like it has become that obviously, is that your opponent can get 4 of the same soul type.
Yeah.
that really does start to play on you. You know, 2 Mountain Drakes in, like, do we dare give them a third? Like, extra 10% resistances 3 times over? So we have to go for that. And then Legacy, we'll say, well, we're fed, so we can kind of just walk in there and see if you're doing it. Make the choice that we believe to be the objective best choice. And look at how that worked out for them.
$60 CS. Harry desperately clutching on to make an impact. And when these shockwaves have landed, they've definitely had some influence.
Yeah, you're putting a Set and an Orianna in the same team composition. They have a crazy amount of AoE damage that they can layer together.
It'll be interesting to see how they decide to use it as the split push takes place to boon down bot sides. Set clears top.
Ray's used his E, so he's not going to be able to hit the turret anymore until the Yuumi comes in. It's an intricate dance that you've got between an Ezreal and an Orianna. Raze can get one hit. Legitimately can get one hit from that Shockwave combo if it connects. And anytime that Raze has the E, he's able to step up aggressively. And it's a big game of bait. Will you throw the Shockwave? Will I use my dash away on this wall?
Ribble's there, doesn't need to use cleanse, doesn't even have cleanse. Managed to find a dash over the wall.
One mistake could cost a lot here for both of these teams, but I think that the way that Legacy are playing this one right now is very much risk averse. Why make the mistake when we can pressure multiple places at once?
Yeah.
As Tally once again isn't splitting.
I was going to say, the fact that Tapoon is commanding the respect of 4 members to that bottom side, they go to him, then back to mid, top lane is just left as it is, actually pushing favorably for Order right now.
They could. Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Okay, that's what they're looking for.
See you, mate. All right, sweet.
Patience pays off. You can one-shot me, but I can one-shot you too. That has to hurt.
Fair enough, man. What do you mean? That was the most casual death I think I've ever seen.
Well, 2 inhibitors will fall on down as Legacy break through this base, utilizing Baron buff effectively and finding a fantastic pick. Won't have much longer left on this buff, however, but they turn their sights now towards these Nexus turrets.
Top Moon hits Meganar as well. He's hunting.
He is indeed. There goes the Halo Ground to make sure everybody stays healthy, stays alive, stays in the mix of this team fight. Tally's going to find one. The Nexus turrets will start to fall on down, and they are farming them at the fountain. Third time the charm, they say, but Legacy won't give them that window. It was good for the start, but Legacy claim it in the end. Finding kills here, shutdowns look good, but it doesn't matter when you're the last sole survivor. Legacy will take down Order.
And they get it with the triple kill on Raze as well. Once again, proves that he's just far too clean on the Ezreal. And the 4 members of Legacy, of course, with the shadow of Tally playing in mid lane. Kind of like a shadow in this game, actually. He was just protecting the rest of his team from start to finish. He knew he wasn't fed, so he just played his role. And
yeah,
I mean, that's what happens when you're a top laner with years of experience. But Legacy, I would say, were challenged
absolutely
to a point. And then it really just started to go all in their favor, and then they just run over the game.
I think it was an interesting point when you highlight the stacking component of what these champions had to offer on Order. Definitely you could see that Tristana had those power spikes, but wasn't able to really find those desirable team fights. A bit of a quiet game, except for that one rare occasion where, ironically enough, Rare was the one to jump in and bully out what Israel could achieve. Kindred felt at many stages of that game just an ultimate bot.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, felt ultimately invisible for a lot of the game as well. There was... And it's not like it was invisible early. You know, there was the early ganks in mid lane. They killed the Orianna.
Yeah.
The attempts were definitely there. The opportunities maybe not as prevalent as they would have liked. And realistically, we just didn't see a whole lot from their comp. And I think it's a risky comp to pick. You know, like, a credit to Order for going for that decision, but they just picked a bunch of ranged champions against a comp that will happily go on them, or if they want to, avoid them. And that was very easy for Legacy to do once they got the lead. Is, you know, you've got your Twisted Fate, go to a side lane. Nah is always going to be fine in a side lane, can build however he would like.
Yeah.
And then an Olaf, Yuumi, Ezreal, impossible to kill. Impossible to deal with if they're ahead in the mid lane, the 1-3-1. And that was really it for Order. Once it hit that point, that hit the break point where Legacy set up their lane assignments how they would like, the game just kind of boomed.
I think Legacy, you'd argue, actually found the best dragons to even achieve, right? Between the ocean and the mountain, just resistance, tankiness, the ability to say, if you're itemizing this heavily into executioners, well, I think there was like 3 the last time I checked. The fact is, look, we have this many resistances on top of that, right? And it's just going to be that hard when Ragnarok gets popped with me on top to say, you cannot take me down, and just ran straight for the team.
I mean, as long as it's not a Cloud Soul, I think Legacy would have been very happy with that. You know, the Mountain Soul's nice because the whole goal of the Orianna in that comp was to be able to one-hit people.
Yeah.
That becomes harder to do with every Drake that you take. Ocean Soul would have been nice because you just sit back and throw spells at them. Infernal, we saw Hayri die basically for no cost of Legacy at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been even easier for them. So very happy with how they played that game, honestly, once they got that lead.
Well, another person very happy with that game will be the one returning on the couch after this one. Don't go anywhere. Trying to go for Oli, who actually pops down the golden floor.
Swiper's coming.
It's a disco party as they jump around. Sapoon will find that kill and get himself into the score sheet. Can they find a second and make that dragon that much easier to go for? Massive amounts of grit. That's actually very aggressive as Sapoon just jumps in amongst multiple members. Down goes Kindred, and that's going to be the slam dunk, quite honestly. She goes golden. He's looking at jump and massive shockwave onto multiple members, and followed up here by Sect. Swiper finding first signs of life in this game. They're going to reveal it now with that TF, just the amount of damage that comes online when Ragnarok gets proc with Yubi on top. Telly finds 1. They do get the dragon, order find 3. The fight means Legacy take you down. There goes the Halo Ground to make sure everybody stays healthy, stays alive, stays in the mix of this team fight. Tally's going to find 1. The Nexus turrets will start to fall on down, and they are farming them at the fountain. Finding kills here, shutdowns look good, but it doesn't matter when you're the last sole survivor. Legacy take down Order.
Feeling the heat? Grab a pineapple or pineberry frozen Fanta mix at Macca's. With 36 flavours, it's the largest range in Australia. Grab one for only $1. A little goes a long way at Macca's.
Countryside's on edge after Frost Barrel.
Yeah, filthy mages. They show up here. They show up here, and I'll come. Tedric? Hey, Tedric! Tedric!